a piece for me. I'm all done with my to-do list. I'm prepared to wait here at your feet. Strangers, they may laugh, well, I don't care. I used to be crazy too. It took me a while to come to my senses. Oh, now the only thing that makes sense is you. And I don't have to be a millionaire to understand that there's more to life than money. I don't have to know the man of my dreams to see that even romance ain't enough for me. And all the beauty and success I always prayed for just to compensate for a love I wanted way more. And all my dreams are getting old, and all I want is to be here, to be here, yeah, yeah. I spent a long time with the numbers, and I figured out that I don't know a thing. Nothing lights me up like it used to do, and I think you know why, 'cause love makes us do crazy things. I got questions I wanna ask you, each one deeper than the last. But I don't have to be a millionaire to understand that there's more to life than money. I don't have to know the man of my dreams to see that even romance ain't enough for me. And all the beauty and success I always prayed for just to compensate for a love I wanted way more. And all my dreams are getting old. I got questions I wanna ask you, each one deeper than the last. But see, I don't even need an answer. No, 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 no. I just wanna be there when I ask. Yeah. I don't have to be a millionaire to understand that there's more to life than money. I don't have to know the man of my dreams to see that even romance ain't enough for me. And all the beauty and success I always prayed for just to compensate for a love I wanted way more. And all my dreams are getting old.
Ooh, I love that. Is that the one you just wrote?
That's the one I just wrote, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Hey, so we started a little early, and I'm wondering, would you mind doing another song while we wait for Lissa to get on? She's our practitioner. I just texted her. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I can do my favorite upbeat song about being alive.
Ooh, love it.
This morning, joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. I woke up this morning, joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. You can sing with me. I woke up this morning, joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. I woke up this morning, joyful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I sleep. 'Cause I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. Oh, I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. I woke up this morning, grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. So much gratitude. I woke up this morning, grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. I woke up this morning, grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. I woke up this morning, grateful as can be. That's how I spend my day, and that's how I'll sleep. 'Cause I love being What's the next one? Someone say a word, something. What are you feeling this morning?
Renewed.
Okay. I woke up this morning renewed as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I sleep. I woke up this morning renewed as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I sleep. Feeling revitalized. I woke up this morning renewed as can be. Like a brand new tiny baby. Yeah. I woke up this morning renewed as can be. That's how I spend my day and that's how I sleep. 'Cause I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life. One more time. I love being alive. It's the greatest thing about my life.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, now I feel renewed.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm gonna disappear for a second because I didn't bring my water up here. So
Yeah,
that's
no
where I'm
worries.
going, but I'll be right back.
All right. And while you're doing that, I'm going to say good morning. Good morning to all you people who popped on. Abigail, Gisela, Lisa. Who else? Oh, Renetta, there you are. So happy to see you this morning. And I'm going to invite our practitioner of the day, Lissa Lazaro, to give us our opening prayer, our invocation.
I'll be glad to. I'll begin by saying I too woke up joyful as can be this morning, and I would like to call us all together for a prayer. The highest God and the innermost God is one God, and this makes me recognize how each unique expression of that one God, with its power and presence, have to make that presence known in the world. And so today, I'm really grateful that we all have the opportunity to look at how we are stardust. And I'm totally looking forward to Reverend Michelle's talk on this subject. I know that Spirit speaks through her and that each of us receives a message that is perfect for us. And I'm so grateful to know that this is true. And I'm so grateful that we have this community to belong to one another. And so I release my word into the law, knowing that the joyfulness of the day is done. And so it is. I was really excited in terms of looking up the quotes for this time, because it's like in reading them, I just personally just felt that inner kafunk or whatever, that sort of thing that happens. At any rate, the first one is from Carl Sagan. The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. And then we are stardust brought to life, then empowered by the universe to figure itself out. And we have only just begun. Neil deGrasse Tyson. And then from Ernest, compel consciousness to recognize the truth through reason if no other conviction comes. And it just tied together for me, that whole concept of the tying together, that more and more as we evolve, science is coming to understand spirit. And so I would suggest that we take just a moment to contemplate our own sense of the universe and our place in it, and the fact that we are more important than maybe we ever have thought. So if we come back together, I just would like to point out that last, I think it was last time we got together, we talked about individualizing the universal and universalizing the individual. And this seems like a perfect follow-up to that. So then perhaps we together could say July's affirmation. I am free with the freedom of God. Today, I manifest this freedom in joy. I see myself free, complete, and perfect. I affirm that God's freedom is my freedom. I enter into this freedom with complete abandonment and sincere desire to live so that my freedom shall be imparted to others. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Lisa. That was beautiful. Jesse, can you pull something else up out of your sleeve?
Yes, I think I can.
All right, I can't wait to hear it.
All right. This is about trusting that universal energy inside. Sometimes it feels like my heart is stuck in a revolving door. It can get me down so much I don't even want to mess with it anymore. Oh, that too familiar feeling, I know it well, but I don't let it get too far. No, I'm too good at staying cool now. Yes, I am learning the art, and I'm getting good at letting go, yeah. Getting good at giving it over, cause I know it ain't in my hands. I'm getting good at letting go, yeah. Getting good at giving it over, cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul's always got something better planned. And when the shadow comes creeping in like a thief from my past, well, I turn on the light by remembering only my soul knows my path. And I'm getting good at letting go, yeah. Getting good at giving it over, cause I know it ain't in my hands. I'm getting good at letting go, yeah. Getting good at giving it over, cause I know, though I do not understand, my soul always got something better planned. And I am unburdened, yes, I am free when I believe it. If I just keep trusting, if I keep the faith, I know I'll see. But I let go, and I know when I let go, and I know that my soul's always God. Yeah, my soul's always God. Oh, my soul's always got something better planned. Ooh, something better is coming along if we just let the universe guide our hands. We don't have to understand, we just have to have faith and open our hearts, cause we are a part of the whole, and the whole part, it's so beautiful. Something better, something better, something better for this piece of stardust.
Oh, that's great. You hit on the theme for today, which is that we are the whole and that we are stardust. So Beautiful. Thank you for kicking us off here. And good morning. Welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. And I hope that you're enjoying this month's kind of exploration of relationships as much as I am. And I've realized that relationships are something that I kind of get in the habit of taking for granted. My family, my friends, my body, they're always just there. But this month's focus on relationships has kind of deepened my understanding that the way I relate to myself impacts the way I relate to God, to you, to my family, to the world. It kind of brings into sharp clarity that everything is interconnected and inseparable. And as I'm sure Science of Mind teaches that there's only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is my life now. And if God's life is my life, then it's your life too. And we can't claim to love God while we judge ourselves harshly. We can't say that we live in a just and an equitable universe while we treat other people or animals or the earth badly, by when we treat anybody other than ourselves unjustly or inequitably. And the more we see ourselves as a part of this interconnectedness of all life, the more our everyday relationships, our relationship with everyone and everything becomes this spiritual practice for engaging with the sacred in everything and honoring everything. It really lets us feel that interconnectedness in a new and a fresh way. As I was putting together today's talk, I thought about this beautiful metaphorical story that's told in the Buddhist tradition, and it's called Indra's net. Sometimes it's called Indra's jeweled net. You may have heard of it before. And it really illustrates this interconnectedness of all things that I'm talking about this morning. A Buddhist scholar named Francis H. Cook wrote in his book, Hunin Buddhism, The Jewel of Indra. He wrote about the story of Indra, and I got my version from him, so I'm going to just share it with you. And he wrote, "Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung by some cunning builder in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant tastes of deities, the builder has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net. And since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There they hang, glittering like stars of the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look at it closely, we will discover that in its polished surface, there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there's an infinite reflecting process occurring. When we experience anything, we actually experience everything. Everything is intertwined. Our perception may be distorted by our limited view, but the reflection of all Indra's jewels are visible in any single jewel. I love that the reflection of any of us, any of our jewel presence is reflected in each and every one of us. The story of Indra's nets is this beautiful illustration of this one life that we talk about all the time in our philosophy and our teaching. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And this divine presence that is within each of us contains the whole. Even when our limited human perception may see us as separate, we are all in this one life. And as Lissa, our practitioner of the day, said, today's talk title is "We Are Star Stuff." And we each sparkle like the jewels of Indra's net. Last month I shared something with you from astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Actually, I was glad to see you had a quote from his as well, Lissa. And he said something on the subject of our oneness and our interconnectedness with the stars and the universe, but he did it from a scientific view. And I'm repeating myself because I said it last month, but I'd like to repeat it again. And he said that not only are we in the universe, but the universe is in us, just like Indra's net. And he went on to say that he believes that the most astonishing fact about the universe is the knowledge that the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up our human body, are traceable to the origins of giant stars. These stars were the nurseries of all of the elements of life that we find here on Earth. And he went on to describe how these elements make up the very elements in our own human bodies. We truly are made from star stuff. And somehow, for me anyway, recognizing this interconnectedness, even in our physical universe and our physical being, brings up for me this real desire to honor and respect and appreciate life all the more. Something about knowing that I'm connected to everything, it inspires me. And it inspires me to bring forward what I have within me into the world, and it reminds me that, life is never stagnant. Ernest Holmes told us that all the time. Life is never stagnant. It will only let us stay in one place for so long, and that it will nudge us along. And that each of us is a valuable and indispensable part of this whole. We have purpose, and we're empowered to bring that purpose to life in meaningful ways, in our own unique way. We're all necessary to the whole of creation. I think it was Wayne Dyer who told us that to never die with your music still in you, which means that I'm responsible to bring to life the gifts and the qualities that are the seeds that are within my being, and yours, the seeds that are within you. One of my favorite quotes is from a 20th century writer named Anna Nin. And she wrote this quote. I actually have it on a little plaque. It's one of my favorites. And she said, I wrote it down, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And I love that quote because it speaks to me. It reminds me of how easy it is for me to become too comfortable with the status quo of life, to the point of complacency sometimes, if I'm really being honest, even when it isn't the life that I truly want to live. This quote reminds me how my fear of the unknown, or a lack of trust in what's possible in life within the allness of God, can keep me from allowing the good that's within me, that's available all the time, to express itself through me. And it reminds me that everything I need is already within me. It's already that tight blossom within me that's waiting to burst forward. Ernest Holmes called it the seed perfection. And that I'm one with this seed perfection, and that I must be willing to allow life to blossom through me. I have to be willing to open to that process of growth and change, and to let it move through me, even when it feels a little risky, even when it feels a little uncertain. It's when we move outside of that comfort zone. What is that funny little meme? Comfort zone. And then the other circle says where the magic happens. It's when we move out of that same old, that things start to move and really start to get juicy and alive for us, and that things really begin to grow and blossom through us and as us. And we do this in relationship with everything and everyone around us. We don't live in an isolated world. We're not on this journey alone. When we contribute our gifts, we contribute to the whole of consciousness and creation. What we do matters. What I do matters. What you bring matters. As gardeners of our lives, since we're using that metaphor, we don't actually make a flower bloom. We plant the seed and then we tend the soil. Our job is simply to create the environment that supports the eventual bloom, but that natural process takes place regardless. But us tending the soil of our own consciousness, allowing creative law to work through us. Holmes again told us that God can do for us only what he or it, whatever pronoun you want to use, can do through us. So our work is to tend the fertile ground of our own consciousness, to be aware of what we're thinking and feeling and doing, and being willing to create an environment that will support the bloom, that will support the blossoming of that tight bud. And it's through our relationship with the divine presence that's already within us, and the way in which we participate with divine law, that we create the world that we want to live in. One that's an expression of the love that's at the center of our being, that love that's always within us. Ernest Holmes had a great quote about gardening. I found it. He wrote that the gardener goes forth in faith to sow his seeds. He has learned that as he sows, so shall he reap. That law works for all alike. It's impersonal. We must accustom ourselves to the concept of the personalness of the law. If we can conceive only a little good, that is as much as we will experience. But you know what? The opposite is true as well. If we have a limitless concept of the good that's available to us, then we're not bound by anything that we've previously experienced. We're not bound by any old patterns of thinking and feeling and being. We are empowered to change. And I noticed that in that quote, Holmes is very clear that the gardener has faith. He goes forth in faith, Holmes said. He was very clear that the kind of harvest we reap is dependent on our belief and our conviction of the truth inherent in the seed, inherent in that bud, and the nature of the principle which enables it to grow, the law. Both our belief in the seed and our participation with the law are in direct proportion to the relationship we have with that divine presence within us, and a belief in our oneness of all life. And that's why it's so important for us to nurture and cultivate daily that relationship that we have with the divine presence within us, which is the relationship we have with ourselves. Holmes was very clear that we're empowered to plant any seed that we want, and the seed we plant will determine whether we harvest tomatoes or carrots or zucchini. Whether we harvest lack and limitation, or we harvest peace and freedom, or friendship or conflict. And we can stand on the wisdom that's been handed down to us from other master teachers and visionaries throughout history, and from contemporary teachers, new thought leaders, and from science. When Lissa was reading her quotes earlier, I remembered that Carl Sagan said that science is in some way informed theology. Science is actually the budding new theology, because it's uncovering the vast beauty and wisdom and intuitive nature of who we are inherent in the universe. And also, it is that intuitive knowing that comes from the relationship we have with God, with the spirit within us, that speaks to us, that brings forward the gifts that we've come here to bring. It's from our personal and our intimate relationship with God and with changeless truth that we're inspired, not because people who came before us had some special insight that we don't have, that they taught us something that we don't have, but because it validates what we do have, that the spiritual principles that I'm participating with right now, right here today, can be counted on and trusted, because they're as true today as they were in the beginning. There's a continuity to the changeless spiritual principles of life, just as there were for those people that came before us, for all of humanity. And the use that I make and that you make of these spiritual principles is grounded in a relationship and our participation with God and with life. Science of mind comes under the umbrella of new thought. it's not really a new idea. It's not a new thought. It's based in ageless wisdom. The new thought idea means that we can have a new thought at any moment and create something new. It's based in this ancient way of knowing truth, not just by what we perceive with our five senses and our analytical minds or brains, but also by our deep intuitive knowing that comes from that oneness of spirit. And I found that the more I cultivate and I nurture my relationship with God, the more I'm able to trust that unfolding of life, that it really will all be okay, no matter how it shows up, to have faith in the goodness of life and to trust that it is moving through me and that all I have to do is be in alignment with the good that is already, that seed perfection that's already within me, that bud of life that Honest Nin spoke about. To participate with creative law shows up in lots of different spiritual traditions and sacred texts. It's been around forever. In Job, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it says, you will decide on a matter and it will be established for you. That's pretty clear. You decide on a matter, you make up your mind, and it's established for you. And in Matthew, it says, according to your faith, let it be done to you. In Luke, in the Bible, the things that are impossible with men are possible in God. I particularly like this one because it makes it so clear that we are unlimited when we're in conscious relationship with our Creator. And of course, these are just a few quotes from the Judeo-Christian tradition. This idea is also in the Eastern traditions and all traditions. In the Dhammapada, the teachings of Buddha, it says, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Speak or act with a pure mind, and happiness will follow you as your shadow. Unshakable. I like that last line, unshakable. What we teach in New Thought about our relationship with God and creative law is an ancient idea. It's timeless truth, working in our lives right now. Whether we're aware of it or not, we're infinite beings right now. And it's up to us to explore and understand and use that inherent wisdom that's already within us so that we can live our lives to the fullest, And what I've personally discovered is that stepping into this fullness of life doesn't always come from my head, but it also comes from my heart, through how I feel, through my relationship with God, with myself, with everyone and everything around me. And all these relationships are deepened in the depth of my heart. And then I'm called through my oneness to put that good and that God into action in my life. In CSL, we use this term a lot. I actually find myself using it a lot. We say that we want to create a world that works for everyone. It's actually the last line of the global vision says, we envision a world that works for everyone and for all creation. And honestly, it sounds like something that we should all want, right? But what does a world that works for everyone really mean? I think it's important for us to ask ourselves this question so that we can find practical ways to contribute to a world that works for everyone in our own individual ways. And remember, we established last week, Lissa even mentioned this, that we individualize the universal, but we universalize the individual, meaning that what we think and feel and do affects the whole. And here is where we're empowered to contribute to the whole, right here where we are, what we're thinking and feeling and living every day. That's what creates a world that works for everyone, because like it or not, we are in relationship with everything and everyone. Yes, even that snarly guy who lives down the street or the lady who stole your parking space, we're one with all of it. And it's important for me to remember that what I hold for you, I'm also holding for myself, because we're Indra's jewels, all reflecting each other. And I believe that's what Jesus was getting at when he advised us to love our enemies. Whatever beliefs I'm holding for you, I'm also holding for myself, because we're one. So what we contribute matters. You know, I ran across this reading in a chapter in Dennis Merritt Jones's book, Encouraging Words. It's really a great book. He's a great writer. And I ran across this one quote that I think really speaks to this idea. It's the last thing I'm going to share with you this morning. But he wrote this. He wrote, "We are all citizens of this planet we call home. We share the same name, human being, and we breathe the same air and draw our food from the same source, Mother Earth. The questions are, does the world as we know it today work for you and everyone else on the planet as it is? Or does something need to fundamentally change for that to occur? And if it does, are we willing to be the change that is needed?" You know, and isn't that the truth? That's one of the things that's really risen to the top for me in our exploration of relationships, is that because of our interconnectedness, if we want to create a world that works for everyone, then we have to begin in our own hearts. We have to continue to nurture and to cultivate that innermost relationship we have with our Creator, whatever we conceive that to be. It's personal and intimate for each of us. And however we do that, it's to love ourselves the way our Creator loves us is what draws that to the surface and enables us to see it in each other and to enact it and live it in the world, you know, to live that same generosity of spirit that's innate within us because we're one with God. To be, as Dennis Merritt Jones suggests, and as Mahatma Gandhi also suggests, to be the change we want to see in the world. To become, through our relationship with the whole, the presence of God, the presence of good, the presence of peace and prosperity, equality, love, to live that in the world. That's what we're called to do. So if we keep breathing for another 365 days, we'll have created another year of our life. That's just a fact. And the exciting part about knowing that is that we're empowered to decide exactly how we want that to go. We get to decide whether we're going to live our lives by the same patterns of thinking, feeling, being that have created our lives up until now, the ones that we're currently living, or are we going to tap into something fresh and new, deepening our relationship with God? We're a choice about this. And, you know, I find that wildly exciting and very encouraging. You know, and I'm certainly aware, as I know you are too, that the challenge of staying grounded in the beliefs and the values that we want to see demonstrated can be daunting. You know, when we see unsettling things happening in the world around us, you know, and sometimes it's difficult to feel that potential that's inherent within the seed perfection, within that bud that's within us, to see ourselves as the bright shining jewels of Indra's net. But I invite us all to meet whatever comes up in our lives with faith, just as Ernest Holmes invited us to see through faith and not through fear, and to continue to deepen in our relationship with that inherent wisdom and beauty that's already within us in our relationship to God, the God that dwells within us and is all around us, and to others that we inhabit this beautiful planet with, you know, to build a strong and empowered relationship to this one life that we're all a part of and that we're all contributing to, and to know that we're called to bring the goodness of God within us to life in the world. We matter. And we're always contributing. We can't help it. We are universalizing the individual that is right here, the perfection of God within us. So let's just sit in that for a minute. I know that all there is the divine, that there is this one life and one presence and one power that moves in and through and as us, that we are one with it. We cannot be separated. And I speak my word for and about every person that is on this call and every person that is not, and every person that is walking upon the beloved Mother Earth herself, that there is a shift in consciousness, a shift in knowing, an opening, an invitation to allow the good of the divine to move through us a new and fresh way that we never thought were possible before, but now are making their way into demonstration through love and peace and contentment and connection. For we are truly all one family, one life. So I just give great thanks for this truth, for this new way of being, for this invitation to live a fresh new life in our relationship with the divine. Oh, and I just relax in that, knowing that these words I speak are already making their way into demonstration. They have no choice. So for that, I just relax. I know all is well. And together we say, and so it is. Ah, I have to say that I was feeling a little tired. I confessed that I was feeling a little tired before the service, but that really energized me. So I just went with it. Oh my goodness. So this morning, oh, there's my daughter. Hi. I didn't know she was on. And my son too. Boy, this is a big day for me. Not very often you get two kids at once. So let's see, we have Relaine, I believe that you are doing the benediction this morning, and I will put up the our conscious giving slide. Here we go.
Thank you. Yeah, through the years with Science of Mind, my two favorite parts of the service have always been music and giving. And it's really stayed that way with me all my time here with Science of Mind. And I really get excited when I tithe. It really feels so, it's kind of like what Michelle was talking about today. It's about expressing my good and supporting the greater good, and certainly supporting spiritual things that help me with my spiritual growth. So I encourage you all to feel that excitement like I feel, and to give back to One Heart, One Mind. And one way to do that is with Venmo, where you can do it at One Heart, One Mind Center, or you can mail a check to Treasurer Jim Massapus, and his address is in the chat room.
All right, I'll move us along here. Oops, sorry. There we go.
So we can say this together. Sacred giving. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply, and I give in faith and in love and in joy, and it flows back to me in kind. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. And so we're going to go to Yvonne, who's going to do our announcements, and then back to Relaine for the benediction. And then Jesse's going to take us out with some more music.
Wow, we have all that coming.
Yes, we do.
I wanted to start today by saying congratulations to Jean Perkle for passing her oral panel exam and becoming One Heart, One Mind's newest practitioner. She's offering practitioner sessions at no cost to you. You can find Jean's email on our newsletter if you're interested in treatment. It's a $50 value for free. And it qualifies as unscheduled income for you. So the sessions will take place on Zoom, and they're all completely private. But I'm really proud of Jean, and I'm sure you all are too. Monday night, we have our prayer group, which meets at 6 o'clock to silently pray for our center. Living the Science of Mind says the best results are gained from group treatment when all members join in treating for the purpose of reaching a higher state of consciousness. So we finish our prayer about 6:20, and please join us for that. It's a real short period of time, and we can get a lot done in that short time. Tuesday evening, you're invited to attend Reverend Michelle and Practitioner Relaine Clark as they facilitate our study of Eric Butterworth's Spiritual Economics. And we're going to be talking about Chapter 9, The Money Enigma. We meet at 6 o'clock and end at 7. And the book is wonderful and leads to very interesting conversations. And I'm laughing along with Relaine because we say every time we get the new chapter, this is my favorite chapter. We've done it every time. So I think that says a lot for the book, and I hope you'll join us. Our Unexpected Income fundraiser continues, It works by you tithing 10% of any unexpected income you receive to One Heart, One Mind, marked unexpected income. If you carefully pay attention, you will experience more and more unexpected income experiences and who knows what else. It really works for you, our senders and others. And I had a little story. My friend wanted to see the new place I'm living in, and she didn't want to drive out here because there's freeways you have to deal with and everything. So I told her, thinking in my own head, I'm going to help someone else out. I'll come and get you and bring you to where I am and then take you home. So I did that, and she absolutely insisted on paying me $25 for gas, which it didn't take any $25. And so I said, yay, there's unexpected income. That's exactly how it works. So remember, this is my last thing here. Remember that we have a kindness fund and that you can support. And please read a message from Raylene Clark in our newsletter and embrace kindness as a way of living. Ooh, that's an odd thing to do, isn't it? Anyway, that's it for me.
All right. Thanks, Yvonne, for that. We're going back to Relaine. She's going to give us our benediction, and then Jess is going to sing to us again.
Thank you, Michelle. So let's close our eyes and just feel the gratitude of the energy of this morning, the connection and the interconnectedness of each and every one of us with each other, with spirit, with nature, with all our life, our ancestors, all those that have come before us, and all those that came after us, will come after us. And I'm so grateful for the message and the music and the energy and the unscheduled income, kindness and knowledge and teaching and growth and all the things that Science of Mind represents. And most of all, to embrace the goodness within ourselves, the goodness within each and every one of us, the goodness of spirit. And so I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so. And we simply say it together, and so it is.
Okay, we're gonna go out on a very meditative note. So everyone, breathe with me. Breathe as the whole. I don't want to give words to this. Anything you have to interpret will only eclipse the heart of it. I just want to send it in sound with a wavelength clarity. Ooh. Nothing I could ever say will resonate the same way that this love does in me. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Somewhere in the beat of your heart, there I am. And somewhere underneath all the war-torn believing, there you have always been. It's something like a melody, it's something like a song, and it sings itself and it's never wrong. Oh, oh. Everywhere it plays for me, it's always on repeat. It's the love song of everything. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Letting the universe breathe me. It's not just there in my body, it's It's not just there in the thoughts that I think, it's there in the roots, in the skies and the seas, in the eyelids, the irises, the wind and the wings, and the will be, the ever was, the reason and the just because. I am the song that I sing. Inhale, everybody. Exhale. So renewed.
Oh, Jessie, you are a breath of fresh air. I always love listening to you. Thank you so much. Oh, so now's our time for just chit-chatting. So I'm going to bring it into our service and